All right, let's get right into it. There's a high stakes biological battle happening all around us, sometimes even inside us. It's an arms race. On one side, you've got our immune system and all of modern medicine, and on the other, a tiny but incredibly clever bacterial superbug. And the stakes here are, well, they're incredibly high. Just to put it in perspective, this single superbug is responsible for at least 2,700 deaths every single year in the US alone. It's a silent killer with a very, very real body count. So let's meet the villain of our story, Pseudomonas aerugiosa. Now, the most important word in that whole definition is opportunistic. This bug doesn't usually bother healthy people. No, it's smarter than that. It's like a predator that patiently waits for our defenses to be down, and then it strikes. And because it's so stealthy and so resistant to our drugs, big organizations like the CDC have put it on their most wanted list. They've officially flagged it as a serious public health threat. So let's dig into why, and more importantly, who it targets. See, this isn't some abstract problem. Pseudomonas goes after the most vulnerable people you can imagine. We're talking about patients whose lungs are already compromised, like in cystic fibrosis or COPD, or cancer patients whose immune systems are weakened by treatment, even people with severe burns, or those who need ventilators. Basically, anyone whose body is already in a fight for its life, well, that's who this bug preys on. So how does it do so much damage? You really have to think of this bacterium as a tiny biological war machine. It comes fully loaded with a whole arsenal of sophisticated weapons designed for one thing: to attack us. Okay, now what you're looking at here, this is basically the blueprint for a biological weapon. It's incredibly complex, right? You can see it has sensors on the outside, little injection systems to pump in toxins. It's got tools for moving around, for talking to its buddies, and for a direct frontal assault. Let's break down a few of its most powerful weapons. First things first, it's got to get in and stick around. So it uses its little tail, the flagellum, like a propeller to swim around. And then it shoots out these things called type 4 pili. Think of them like microscopic grappling hooks to latch on tight to our cells. That's how it sets up its beachhead for the invasion. But here's where it gets truly nasty. It has this incredible weapon called the type 3 secretion system. The best way to picture it is as a microscopic syringe. It literally punctures our cell membrane and injects a killer toxin called XOU that causes our own cells to explode from the inside out. It is brutal. And this isn't some chaotic free-for-all attack. Oh no, Pseudomonas uses a chemical communication system called quorum sensing. When enough of the bacteria get together, they start sending out signals to each other, basically saying, "Okay, everyone, on the count of 3, attack." They launch a coordinated, massive release of toxins all at once to overwhelm us. But of course, our bodies don't just sit there and take this beating. We have our own amazing, incredibly sophisticated defense system. It's been fine-tuned over millions of years to fight off exactly these kinds of invaders. And this image right here shows our battle plan perfectly. It's a two-pronged attack. You've got the immediate, fast-acting response, the innate system. And then you have the more specialized, targeted response, the adaptive system. Think of it like this. First, we send in the first responders. And then, if we need to, we call in the special forces. So the second an intruder is detected, the alarms go off and our first responders, cells like macrophages and neutrophils, they swarm the scene. They literally try to eat the bacteria and throw out these sticky traps to entangle them. At the same time, this chain reaction of proteins called the complement system kicks in. And it's basically like painting bright neon targets on the bacteria, marking them for destruction. If that doesn't work, we call in the big guns, our adaptive immunity. This is where things get personal. Our B cells start churning out custom-built missiles called antibodies that are designed to seek out and neutralize this specific threat. At the same time, T cells act like elite soldiers, hunting down any of our own cells that have been infected. And, this is the crucial part, they remember the enemy, so the next time it shows up, the response is way faster. So, you hear all that and you think, wow, our immune system is amazing. And it is, which brings us to the million-dollar question. If our defenses are so powerful, so sophisticated, why is Pseudomonas aeruginosa so deadly? Why do we so often lose this fight? Well, the answer, and this is what makes this superbug so terrifying, is that it doesn't just play offense. It is an absolute master of espionage, of evasion. It has an incredible playbook of counter-defense strategies.
What you're looking at here is basically the bacterium's counterintelligence manual. See, it's not just about being strong, it's about being smarter than our immune system. It has tactics for building shields, for disabling our weapons, for hiding in plain sight, even for turning our own biology against us.
It has two primary stealth modes. First, it can build a fortress. It secretes the slimy shield called a biofilm that our immune cells and even our antibiotics just can't get through. Or it can put on an invisibility cloak. It actually changes the chemical signature on its outer surface, so our immune system sensors just glide right past it, not even recognizing it as an enemy. Now, to understand its most cunning trick, you first need to know a little something about CRISPR. We hear about it a lot as a gene editing tool for humans, right? But in bacteria, it's actually their own personal immune system, which they use to fight off viruses that try to infect them.
And here is the truly mind-bending move. Pseudomonas takes its own immune system, CRISPR, and turns it against itself. It deliberately uses it to switch off its most aggressive weapons, the very things our immune system is trained to spot. Think about that for a second. It's strategically disarming itself to go into deep stealth mode. It sacrifices its short-term attack power for long-term, invisible survival inside our bodies. It's genius.
But the arms race doesn't stop there. For every brilliant tactic this superbug comes up with, science is racing to develop an even smarter counterattack. Humanity is gearing up for the next phase of this war, and it is fascinating. This slide here is like a sneak peek into the future of medicine. We're developing a whole new wave of scientific reinforcements. You can see we're working on ways to boost our own immune system with things like advanced vaccines, and we're also developing more direct attacks, like using bacteriophages, which are viruses that naturally prey on bacteria. The new strategy is to hit it from every possible angle. We're developing new vaccines that can train our immune system before an attack even begins. We can deliver ready-made antibodies to act as instant reinforcements. We're even developing drugs that don't kill the bacteria, but simply disarm its weapons. And then there's phage therapy, unleashing its natural predators. And the early results from these new approaches, they are absolutely astonishing. I mean, look at this. In animal studies, an mRNA vaccine that targets that microscopic syringe weapon led to 100% survival in burn wounds. Another vaccine using tiny bubbles shed by the bacteria itself also achieved 100% survival. This isn't just a small step forward, it's a massive leap. So all of this leads to one final huge question. On one side, you have millions of years of relentless bacterial evolution, and on the other, you have the cutting edge of human scientific ingenuity. In this incredible, accelerating biological arms race, the only question that really matters is, who is going to innovate faster?